Okay, so mm, hello, hello, hello. This is Shubhang, and I'm here to talk about how the journey towards the pathless academic. So, very recently, couple of weeks back, I decided to exit from the default path of academia. Um, when I say exit from the default path, it means that I want to create my own path, explore where I could explore my creativity and also my values. I do have some deep values, and yeah, and that this interest has been growing lately since I made that decision. I want to explore different fields and careers. I want to meet different people with values and how they are working towards them. Um, and yeah, that's how it has been since last few weeks. I've been very passionately getting to know about various things, the various people around, and various works, various fields. Again, as I said, um, and it's interesting that I haven't been exposed to different sort of fields in my high school or schooling. I was not exposed to different careers that are available, and I was only slightly interested as a child in different things. Yes, but I never got to explore them properly. Yeah, I didn't have a habit of reading books, and um, I only now appreciate the value of books, and how they could help you get exposed to this world, to the people around. Right? I'll get to that soon in this video, but yeah, and yeah, so I haven't been exposed to a lot of fields or careers, and I have decided this path. I was interested in science. I mean, I've been in a surrounding and parenting where education was given a lot of preference over arts or anything. I mean, art education is there, but STEM, yeah, mostly it was related to science, technology, engineering. It's mostly that. Uh, and because yeah, I mean, parents knew only that they wanted me to excel in them. They wanted me to get educated in that arena properly. I've decided, and there was a scientific boom in recent days, I guess. So I was aware of that too, and took this path of pursuing science. Yeah. So, but yeah, so 17-year-old me, 18-year-old me decided to pursue this path. But it's been 3 to 4 years now, and I want to, and there have been events in the recent days that have perturbed me to reevaluate the choices and decide for myself what I want to do. Right? I've There were situations which demanded me to think about different things, my interests, in my whole journey in the last 4 years, and I want to. I did give a good thought to all of them, um, and then I decided that I want to go pathless. I want to I want to not go into the default path of finishing my masters and applying for PhDs. Um, in fact, I was already on the pathless path, I guess, because I was not applying for any big internships or anything like that. Anyway, I'll get into that soon. But so I was not exposed to different fields, and I decided to start this field, pursuing this in when I was 17, and the only exposure I got was STEM mostly, not even mathematics actually, just STE, STE, and and so I was not exposed to other fields. But yes, I had interests. I had some interests on which, on giving them further thought, I've decided more things, which which I'll come to them soon. But um, there were interests, yes, but there were so many other fields that I was not even interested because I didn't even know them. I was not aware of them properly. Like the field of psychology. If you want to be a therapist or someone, you need a bachelor's in psychology and then master's in some related field, and then maybe a PhD or a counseling degrees or some training like that. But I was not even aware of this whole field of psychology, right? I didn't even know what is psychology. How could I even made a decision of doing a bachelor's there? And so I ruled out many fields like that, right? So it's interesting that I was not exposed to them. But what I am really proud is that of my parents. What I'm really proud of my parents is that they've given me as much as they can. They sacrificed so much. They moved from town to Hyderabad around, I don't know, around 18 years back. And they to give us better opportunities, better lifestyle, better education, and they were able to do that. I am really glad that I'm in this stage where I can think about all these things. I'm exposed to enough things. I had technology, I had everything to get exposed to different things. And here I am with the freedom to think about all these things. And I'm really happy for my parents. Like they have, although they only knew about very narrow fields, but they gave me a good education which allows me to go into any field. That's what I feel right now. I'm in a place where I could decide to do whatever I want to do. Yeah, I mean, there are many fields that I won't be able to do right now, maybe, but still, if I want to, I can do them. I mean, with the time, of course, it takes time, but if I want to, I can do them. I'm aware of many different things. This is the crossroad of the blind path that have been taken only for better, only for better. I am educated now, more educated now, and I can choose my own path now, right? So yeah, lately I've been very interested in different paths, and here I am talking about it. I want to discuss whole story of how I got here, how I got to this decision of becoming a pathless academic or someone, right? So here we go. So I don't know, there are roughly 4 sections to it. I'll first talk about how did it all begin, what were the events that perturbed me here, and then the thoughts on academia themselves, with conversations with different people and different advices all over the world, but not, of course, all over the world, but not all the advices I could get, but some advices that I could find. And then what happened to me after this new thoughts in academia, after these new events that perturbed me. I started reading books. I started to be a little patient with things and started reading books. That gave me an idea of what I could, how I could. That led me to reflect upon my interests and what I could be doing on my career, right? And then finally, in the 4th section, I will talk about what I'm going to do, what I've decided to do, right? I'll talk about my interests, I'll talk about what I'm feeling currently, I'll also talk about the final year of masters that I've to start in a week or so. How would I take it? I'll talk about it in the fourth section. So if I need to draw it, I would say, how did it all begin? So there were events that perturbed me. The first section. Then we have thoughts in academia. Conversations with friends and few advices from people. And then I will books and reflection. That was a phase. And then I would do then the fourth section would be, what have I decided? Yep. So this will include my interests, career interests or hobbies or values that will dictate me, that will help me decide my career. Books and reflections, many books, reading or listening books, to deciding a lifestyle or a life, imagining my ideal life or something like that. This is roughly the 4 sections that I want to talk about. Yeah. So also it's 25th of July 2024 and I'm at Hyderabad and it's 16:59. Cool. Okay, so the first part is, how did it all begin? So how did it all begin? Okay, so I completed my fourth year, and I was already thinking a lot about my thesis, with whom should I work in my final year. I had few options. In my mind, but mainly towards the end of the fourth year, I had so many interests. Or not so many interests. I have an interest that was being developed deeply, right? I was interested in mathematical physics. I researched a lot about the different fields in mathematical physics. I stumbled upon many sources on gauge theory. I found a beautiful book on gauge fields, knots, and gravity, which included a lot of differential geometry and connections to quantum field theory and physics in general relativity and everything. It was quite fascinating, and I explored that even more by reading this book called Not Even Wrong by Peter White. the book is intended for some other purpose, but I could I specifically looked for a lot of history of mathematics, how the quantum field theory and mathematics have been interacting in 20th century and 21st century also, I guess. So, but in the late 20th century, there was a lot of interaction between math and physics. I've been exposed to that a lot through these books and many other internet searches and a lot of resources. So I've really been interested in this direction. So I had a few options in my mind with which professors will I target. So let's say there's Dr. X in physics, Dr. Y in physics, Dr. A in math, and Dr. B in math. So these are physics professors, these are mathematics professors. So I was not sure if I should approach physics or mathematicians, but it was getting clear for me that the interests I had was more of mathematical problems connected to a physical landscape or arena, right? I wanted to explore gauge theory. That was something roughly I had in my mind. I wanted to explore about gauge theory, and I also had symplectic geometry in my back of the mind. Symplectic geometry, or even topological quantum field theories. I don't know. Quantum groups are also there in the back of my mind, but mostly I was interested in differential geometry and its connection to theoretical physics, and I found a lot of resources on that from library, ranging from library to many other resources. But yeah, so the first professor I approached, or I've been thinking about approaching him since a lot of time, since couple of years now already. So I've approached Dr. X regarding these my interest in mathematical physics. It was kind of a bummer. It was a huge buzzkill. The professor gave clear intentions of, clear opinion about how he is not interested to take students. How, sorry for using the pronouns, but the professor was very clear about their disinterest in taking students. They're just tired teaching and taking students. So that was it. So the professor told me that they wanted to think about it, whether they want to take a student for master's thesis. I told them that I would be interested to be a little more independent, so maybe I wouldn't depend on them too much, and I wanted to just talk about my interests. The professor was not even ready to do that. They were mostly disinterested, not interested in taking any student or talking to any undergraduate, perhaps. So I came back. I was kind of hurt, yeah, because the conversation happened in not so good place, especially given the last conversation with them was in a good environment, but the recent conversation was just in a corridor outside their door. It was not good, and I've got clear idea of their intentions, their mind, something like that. So I went back. I thought no, I don't want to do my thesis with this person, with this professor, this professor. So because I wanted to work with someone who's passionate about it, who's not disinterested constantly, and who's not regretting to take this project seriously. Or yeah, so I didn't want that environment. because I do want to be independent, but this is a new topic for me too. It's mostly mathematics, and I wanted some support too, but unfortunately, yeah, the vibe that the professor gave off was not healthy. It was toxic, and I didn't want to continue going with Dr. X. So I didn't meet them again because I didn't like the vibe. So, and regarding the Dr. Y, I always had Dr. Y in my mind since beginning of fourth year. They taught me two quantum field theory courses. The first quantum field theory courses, I was really a bad student. Maybe I was a bad creditor of that course. I was doing my own stuff mostly, really attending classes, and um, but I did learn a lot of things. But eventually, the grade didn't reflect my interest or the work I put in. I really put the work, but I didn't appreciate the teaching though. And I'm okay with that because the first quantum field theory course I did that the way I wanted to do, and I got some flavor from David Tom's lecture notes and other sources, so it's fine, I guess. But not been able to do a lot of. um I couldn't complete a lot of expectations that work that has been expected to from us by the instructor. So I couldn't do it all, but I gave my almost 100%. But the grades are not my 100%. But the grades are not 100% because I'm not a genius. I took a difficult path to study it instead of properly following everything what professor is doing, because I wanted to value on some other things that I wanted to learn from the course, not just the things that was being taught. Some more values, uh, and I'll talk about these in soon. But yeah, uh, but the second course in quantum field theory went quite the opposite, almost. I I was not opposite actually. It was very complete. I I was really enjoying from the day one, attending their classes or attending their classes on quantum field theory too, and I was very engaged in every lecture. I I I barely missed a lecture or two the whole semester, and I took proper notes and very complete notes, and I was following them closely, and I was also reading a lot of other, especially the Z's book. And I had this. I don't remember from where I got this, but I did have um, some story kind of stuff, some background information of how quantum field theory two was being developed. I think I did desperately try to understand that history or that kind of some perspective on these things, right? So yeah, and I was really excited when we calculated that anomalous magnetic moment. I mean, for which Feynman, Tomonaga, and Schwinger got their Nobel prizes, and yeah, I was excited throughout the quantum field theory course, and I did that well. I didn't digress from the class, uh, from the things that we did in the class. I didn't follow any other resource. I was just sitting to the class because in the second course I already had that flavor, and I was able to follow things, and I was able to appreciate their teaching better, and I was just sticking to that. When you're able to do this, the grade, I believe in myself to get good grades, and I did get good grade in the end. So is that I did like the course, and yeah. So and and towards the end of fourth year, uh, the undergraduate convener of physical sciences uh, gave us a list of projects that the professors in the department have floated for their master's thesis. So in that, apparently Professor X didn't float anything, and Professor Dr. Y, did float a couple of topics. So I kind of read those read the titles of those topics, and I was interested in one of them, actually two of them, but just wanted to talk about one of them. I did talk to them about it during the semester itself, and I thought I could actually maybe, and then I decided to explore the second topic also. I asked the resources for both of them, and they provided me the resources, and after the semester I thought I will approach them for the thesis. But the two topics that the Dr. Y proposed were totally physics based. So I was, during the semester and probably after that, I was mostly considering Dr. Y as my backup plan. If my interest in differential geometry and theoretical physics are not being realized through master's thesis by any of the professors, I thought I could roll back to Dr. Y and do a project in higher HEP, high energy physics, theoretical high energy physics. So the topic is ADS-CFT correspondence and black hole hair, the Dr. Y proposed, which I was interested in. There is other topic, dualities and instant gravity, which I felt more result oriented, and I wanted to be more background or study oriented project, and I'll come to it later. So Dr. Y had a project that I was interested in, but it was a backup plan. I was almost convinced that probably no one would be ready to take me in mathematics, but I still wanted to try, so I kept Dr. Y as only a backup. So, but I was genuinely interested in it, of course. I'm genuinely interested in physics, of course. There are priorities, but I'm genuinely interested in stuff. Then I went to, so this is on hold, right? This is on hold. Then I went to Dr. A. Dr. A taught me a course on rings and modules, which I absolutely crashed it. I crashed. I scored absolutely low. I struggled because that semester was really tricky. I won't talk about that, but it was a very tricky semester of the summer. After the things that have been happening in summer, so that seventh semester was tricky, and I was finding my way into studying things studying things my way, and then the course and values and all that being crumbled in that semester. I was just hard for me, and I wasn't able to communicate and properly do the course on rings and modules. I did score low, but that was a kind of a modifier that affects me when I want to talk to Dr. A. When I wanted to talk to Dr. A. But Dr. A was cool with it. They said it's okay, I understand. So nothing much happened in that direction. But yeah, after 8 semesters, I went to talk to him. Also, I went to talk to Dr. A. I told him about my interests here, my interest in gauge theory. He was also quite excited to talk about the interaction between math and physics. He said they said their interests are also, their work is also connected to it, but didn't know how. I kind of told them about what I knew about the connections, and they were kind of excited. They said they will look. I also sent them a PDF which has very cool mathematics and physics about gauge theory. What are the problems that there are there now, as of now, or previously solved. So I went to them. I shared the PDF. They read. They glanced at the PDF, right, and then they decided to take a week, maybe or two, and then decide on the problem, research problem or master thesis problem. I was happy. I was quite excited. But then the next day I get the mail that they won't be able to commit to me this year. They won't want to take a student this semester, this year, because they want to focus on outgoing PhD student probably, and other things, personal commitments on 2 projects and all of that stuff. So Dr. A couldn't give time to a master's student. I thought I should respect that. So there's that. And then Dr. A suggested to meet Dr. B too, and I did have Dr. B in my mind, but it was I almost knew that it's not gonna happen with Dr. B, but I want to try it, and this is where a lot of questions and decisions, perturbations were came from. Um, so okay, so I went to Dr. B. I told them I told them that I want to talk about math and physics. That's it. So mostly I approached them as a for advice probably, and then I told them the I want to do a PhD. I want to do a master's thesis there and stuff. Okay, so first thing I told them that I met Dr. B in my second or third year too and talked about math and physics. So I wanted to continue that conversation. What I had in my mind was that so okay, sorry, give me a minute. Okay, so okay, so okay, so I was distracted. Sorry. So Dr. B, yeah, I started the conversation with saying, "Okay, I kind of see where do I want to go towards mathematics more than physics." So I started conversation like that, and then there were a lot of questions about what do you mean by mathematical physics, and there's no such term. So I had to be more practical. I had to decide what is it, math or physics. Binary. I had to think that because as there's a situation in India or even probably in most of the other countries, there's no mathematical physics department. There's only a subgroup of a department. So yeah, so I had to choose a department. So I told them that it's going to be mathematics. I was interested in mathematics. This went for a while. It's almost went for 10 days, maybe 1 week. All these things. So I decided I wanted to apply in mathematics, and then I was told how difficult it is to get there, and I was told that I need to make a decision, and I was given few options about applying to a physics PhD and then applying for and then try to move to mathematics by taking courses there, and I wanted to do a master's in mathematics and then move to a PhD in mathematical physics in mathematics group. But masters in mathematics could be difficult. um, and then there's other directly apply for a PhD in mathematics. This is few options that I had. I was really interested in applying for a mathematical physics master's, or at least a master's in mathematics, and then moving to a PhD in mathematical physics or mathematics, whichever suits me. That was the plan, but things will be different because things were difficult. I was made realize that it is difficult to do any of these actually. I mean, except maybe PhD in physics might be possible, but which I'm really not interested to. But the whole conversation took place in a very academically hoop jumping way, the very default way of talking about academics, about applications. We never talked about how it would be possible, whether it would be possible if I go slow, if I wait for an year. We didn't talk about that. And I didn't want to talk about it because Dr. B, I didn't get the vibe from Dr. B that I could talk about that. They were not interested. Simply not. Yeah. The conclusion was they were not interested in differential geometry. They were interested in some other numerical the other fields that I could numerical analysis or some other stuff, and they would not be interested in differential geometry. So yeah, and there's for the first decision is I don't want to do with Dr. B because I'm not interested in numerical analysis, and two was the about the decision of academia itself, about what are my options here, right? What are my options here? Do I want to apply for a PhD in physics, PhD in mathematics, PhD in physics, and then switching and masters in mathematics, and then do all, and I had to think the practicality of all these things. So then I realized what have I done? I mean, I don't have any internships. I won't be able to apply for all these positions if just getting out of masters. I don't want to apply for applications during the semester. Sorry, I don't want to apply for places during the semester, and I wanted to really have one project in my hand, and the final year master's thesis is going to be that. And I don't want to spend time doing applications and saying stuff that I mean I don't want to. I mean, I don't have anything to brag about. I mean, I did things in a very manual way. I didn't give a frick about course grades or something, and I wanted to just appreciate the physics, and I did that in whatever way possible. And I'm not a genius. I realized I'm not a genius to be able to do that and also get good grades. And yeah, so I was in a very tricky place. I mean, I thought it was not going to happen like this. I mean, so that's this is how this whole thing is the first thing, yeah. So now you get the perturbation, right? It's not very clear, right? The perturbation is about many options I have. So if I okay, sorry. If I'm clear about how did the beginning of all this stuff, how did it begin? How did it begin? I would say one direction there was Dr. B, there was Dr. A. I mean, mostly it's Dr. B, but Dr. B, that's the time, not Dr. B. I mean, okay, let's not perturbations during Dr. B phase. It's not Dr. B that who directly made me think about decide something. It's more about the options that I had of talking, and then I had to the fun thing that the conversations with Dr. B were very straightforward, and I liked them. It made me think about things clearly. That's what I'm happy about. So there is one that, and I had always in my mind about taking a break here, right? In which I want to apply. I want to do projects, yes, but I wanted to do other creative endeavors, adventures, outdoor endeavors, and some autonomy, independent stuff. These are all there, right? And how beautiful is that after these thoughts, after these perturbations from Dr. B's phase of communication, it started. This has started to rise. I somehow managed to. I somehow managed to put this all small and just cover with all the academia stuff, but very interesting things made me again put this thing to seriousness, right? Let's consider this with seriousness. So interesting. So these perturbations are not from anywhere. These are not perturbations out of nowhere, but were very clear perturbations. These are very interesting perturbations, right? So yeah, so I had to decide now. So what I was tending towards, I mean, I was now I'll smoothly go into the second section, right? So I was really confused about what should I do. I was confused about why my passionately working towards things is not working out. Where I mean, now I'm sitting here and telling you that I'm not genius. Although I chose the path of more work, and I'm not a genius to get good grades and apply for internships while doing all that. And this is me. But during that time, I was not seeing things clearly, and I was wondering about what happened to this. Is the other way the only way? Can you not do things passionately here? Can you not do honestly? Can you not work honestly and get there in the sense apply for PhDs in a smooth way, applying for applications after your masters, being able to show your work while doing your theses and apply and stuff. So I was questioning about the business, the academics as a business. It has become a business of things. You sell yourself, you you mail and you sell yourself and all that. It's connected to hoop jumping and all that, which I'll soon get into in the third section. But so let's go into the second section. It's about passion versus business, right? It's about, yeah, I mean, I did write about thoughts on academia, but yeah, now I'm going to write it as passion versus business, or I don't know, practicality or whatever. But passion versus business, something like that. So I was there. I still remember I was talking to a friend. I was talking about how things were not working out, in the sense that I always thought if I continue to do my honest work till fifth year, I will be able to smoothly merge into the path of the default path. Okay, if this is the path that people take, and if this is the path that I took, very imperfect, very much. But I thought this is the fifth year, and in fifth year I would maybe smoothly go into there and then apply for PhD. But it takes genius to do such things. And I was wondering if I should. I mean, I was wondering about why isn't it like that? Why aren't things like this? I was seriously giving thoughts on why are there no advices regarding how you can do honestly, passionately, and still continue to get what you want, right? Well, I was thinking about that, but during this same phase, I was also perturbed by another advice, which is very close to business advice, but that people have been doing. It's advice of it's advice by Grant Sanders, unfortunately, but it's not his fault. It is just his their it's their it's follow your dreams cliche ka orthogonal stuff, he says. But yeah, it was not comfortable for me to go through this, but because I was really interested in passion side of things, and I wanted some advice on how I could do how I could continue doing that and get things done. I'm respectful about the process, right? I'm not blind to things. I'm not a maniac. I'm not a blind maniac. Okay. So yeah. So the people just started to apply for big internships and hoop jump, right? Hoop jump. I'll get to what hoop jumping means. To jumping and applying there, here, and there, and internships and all that. I couldn't do that, and I thought, why? Even my passion was not going to. And suddenly here, I've been rejected by people, and my passion is not being able to convert it to smoothly go into that path. And I was was wondering why is it like this? Why isn't there no advice on this? But there is an advice on how to continue this. But it was only one advice. Let me just play it, and we'll talk about more about it later.
Last year, Grant gave
is the implication that there's one static target point at all. In the next 10, 20, you'll notice that essentially all of them almost everyone I know has an academic career to going time of their graduation. If you remain nimble, as an initial velocity vector, it gives a clear direction to point yourself, and loving what you do can have you move quickly. But you should expect, and you should even hope, that the specific direction that your move holds. And you, the graduate, I for one would feel a lot more comfortable used to others. You're more likely to be the ones at the helm, crazy ship that we're all riding. If you step into the next chapter of life with an implacable focus on adding values to others, you're more likely to be the one. Influence is not distributed uniformly in the population, and I for one would feel a lot more.
I mean, I respect a lot of things that he said in this commencement speech, but it was brilliant, and it was also a perturbation for me. It was a relevant perturbation for me to navigate through these advices, this phase of advices, and which advice suits me. I respect this advice. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, it's weird, okay, but it's nice. It's also nice. It's also sad. They'll talk about helm.
Comfortable if it was you who were at the helm, guiding this crazy ship that we're all riding. If you step into the next chapter of life with an implacable focus on adding values to others, you're more likely to be the ones at the helm. If you recognize that action precedes motivation, you're more likely to be at the helm. And if you ask, what's possible now that wasn't 10 years ago, you're more likely to be at the helm. If you appreciate just how much power you have to shape the lives of the generation that follows you, you're more likely to be at the helm. And if you remain adaptable to a changing world, treating passion not as a destination, but as a fuel, following not dreams, but opportunities, you're more likely to be at the helm. One final time, would everyone please join me in congratulating the class of 2024 on what they've...
I think I get it more right now. I mean, we talked about Grant. I talk about a lot of things. It was more than I could see. I'm just a fourth year undergrad here, but I'm commenting on such a experience that he has. But yeah, he has commented on good things. I guess he was just commenting upon how this very phenomenon of how passion doesn't take you there, and what do you do after that, right? I think he was talking about that. I think he was really talking about that, and then he was giving an advice of how it's not only the passion, but you have to add something else to get there, right? He's not necessarily talking about the business, but he's also talking about. He's not just talking about following your dreams. He's probably elaborating that too. But I felt a contradiction there. I felt a bit weird there that people are just saying follow your dreams. They're not describing how to do that. There will be challenges, and it's not a good advice. It's just go follow your dream. Go follow your dream. That's not the only advice, right? That's not the advice. Okay, the advice is about describing how do you go about following your passion. And for me, I've been surrounded by people with business. I've not seen in my batch, in my surroundings, about how people passionately following science and stuff. They were giving in to many things. So, because probably they reached this, it's probably because they reached this kind of thing early, and I managed to pull myself hard, pick myself up in darker times, and then reach here. I mean, everyone has a breaking point. Maybe this is my breaking point, and now I'm wondering what advice do I need to take. And I had thoughts on academia. I had not me. I was conversing with a friend. We had thoughts on academia, how passion is being managed, and a lot of things that we talked about that day. There were very serious things about academia, how it's going ahead. So I was not happy with it. I was. It's about funding. It was about how passion, how whether there is a place for passionate people or not. Whether there's place for passionate people. That was a perturbation. I could see academia more clearly there. How there is a lot of money exchange going on here and there, money flow of money, and people have to do this to get into what they wherever they want to go. So that people started doing this. People started to focus on business over the very science, and people have been going here and there, being more explorative. I guess I couldn't do that. I expect it because they had to do it. That's how academia is right now. But I couldn't do it, so I had to decide. I have to decide something. To decide on something. Yeah. So, damn, Grant really spoke well. Now I see. It's adding value to others. It's a phase where you add value to others too, and you also follow your values. Right? You need a satisfaction to follow your values, man. In an education system. Okay. Anyway, I don't want to go there, but yeah, the academic conversation was enlightening to decide what my values were. So I've realized that I'm a slow guy. I want to work slow. I want to work really hard on understanding things and slowly, and then apply for places slowly, not jumping, not while working many other things. I want to go slow. So that meant that kind of meant that actually perturbed me whether academia is the right place for me. Yeah. It took some time for me to realize that yes, I do want to continue doing science, but it's also about other things, and it's actually a long period. I took many days to decide whether I want to stay in academia. It was there were many days. It took me days to think about it. Think about whether I want to stay in academia. It was that shock of a thing. It was. But soon I understood that I do want to do science. I want to pursue science, but I want to do it slowly. But right, I soon decided to talk to Yogesh, Dr. Y. Soon decided to talk to Dr. Y about the thesis. I wanted to do it slowly. I want to just continue my passions. I didn't know what I want to do. Right, I asked Dr. Y that I want to work on this project. They sent me resources, and then I slowly started to work on the Gage Fields book. I was reading, continuing, and then another crash hit. But wait, those actually. Oh yeah. Sorry. So after this whole perturbation, after this whole conversation of academia, it took me days to figure out what I want. I was slowly realizing the values that I have in academia. I want to go slow. I want to understand things. What do I do? There's no one who's telling me what to do. Grant's advice didn't make me feel like I have to push myself in some direction. It told me to change direction, something like that. So, but I went back to Stoicism. I went back to Ryan Holiday. It was good. Right? I was motivated to work. There will be obstacles, there will be stuff. I should just work. I guess that's how I was able to survive for a few more days. Right? There's this. Okay, passion is business. This was the conversation that we had and all that. Okay, the second section is about that. That's it. Let's get to the third section now. Okay, all these perturbations just happened. What did I do? I wanted to set a routine. Okay, I started reading books like Atomic Habits. I realized there was a book, this brilliant book on developing habits, talking about principles of habits. Maybe I should start it. So I had Audible subscription too, free subscription from Google Pay. So I bought the audiobook on Atomic Habits. I listened to it. It was great. I was also focusing on cooking and managing my time with other things, with reading two different things and fitness and all that stuff. So I wanted to start reading Atomic Habits. I read it. It was a great book. And then I started reading about. I then looked at the suggestions by James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits. I found Practicing Mind and the Pathless Path. I read Practicing Mind. It was brilliant. It talked about the practicing mind. I mean, it talked about how how we could be product oriented rather than the process oriented. It's a good question. Okay, sorry, what I was talking about. So yeah, the process versus product orientation. I looked at that. I was really actually because I was I found the book in the right time because I was going through this phase of getting very impatient about my progress. I wanted to finish that Kate Fields book sooner, and I was getting impatient that I'm not being able to make good progress. But to the extent where continuing to read that book was a trouble. I was not focusing on the process, but I was getting impatient about the product. So that book kept me in check a little about how you have to respect the practicing mind, because we're forever practicing stuff. We should not be. Getting mindful about getting out of the process, being more mindful about that. I also started headspace meditation. It's been a long time though, so I was doing that too. So to help my mindfulness and just be calm about things. I also found the book The Pathless Path, where things have really started to take shape from again James Clear suggestions. The Pathless Path. I listened to that book. It's a great book. Again, the title really caught me because I wanted to take a path. I want to decide on where I want to go and stuff like that. The Pathless Path, I don't know if I saw it on James Clear Suggestions or YouTube by Ali Abdal's or just some other video, but Pathless Path is a brilliant book. The author talked about different aspects of this, like pathlessness, about creative endeavors, about hoop jumping, about how you want to accept the default path. These terms, I'm aware of these terms because of that book. I'm so grateful to that book, to Paul Millard, the author of Pathless Path. It's a great book, right? It's a great book. I realized that I want to continue the creative endeavors. I want to continue to work on my creative endeavors, creative directions, creative needs. I reflected upon what my interests and what I want to do. I want autonomy. Who's then, right? I was really interested in a lot of things, and as I said, I was interested in Project Break here. I was interested in Project Creative, and I was outdoors and being independent. I was also interested to do academics passionately. So I decided to. So I wanted to. So slowly I decided that I want a simple life and an honest life. I was looking for an honest career. I was honestly looking for jobs. Many jobs are available for master's students, for postgraduates, for graduates from master's education. And it was a long journey again. The whole June and July, it was that. Again, with conversing with my friend, I was having some thoughts, what to do. Then I decided one day, not one day, it was a slow process. I really saw some Ali Abdal's videos on careers too, career deciding stuff too, and then I thought that I want to focus on creative academic stuff. I wanted to read science, but I also want to creatively code it. Web development, I was really interested in web development, 3D development. So I'm really interested to make websites and communicate science or tell stories through websites. I really want to do that. I really like to create that experience, and I've already been working on that part since my first year. Actually, I was learning processing language p5.js. Right, I was learning p5.js. It was interesting, but it was nice. p5.js, and then there's other competition on web development. I did that, and then I realized how I wanted to be. Yeah, wait, I was this person who was also interested in other creative endeavors. So Paul really talked about how you are creative and you want to do that, you want to do other stuff, giving into the freedom and other things. So that was the story of how I decided that I want to include some creative aspects. So initially that's what I thought. I want to mix web development and 3D web development, 3D modeling and science. I want to read science and also do that science and spend 1 year or 2 years in this direction on my own, freelancing, maybe earning some money here and there, maybe for part-time jobs like Uber driving, because I wanted to have these experiences too. And then I could, after 1 year or 2 years, if I'm interested to apply for go into academia direction, I will apply for PhD. I will do projects in that time too, in a 1 year 2 year period, to get me to the academic positions also, PhD also. And by that time I would also already be working on my hobbies, so that I have a little complete me. I'm not sacrificing anything. I haven't paused all my hobbies for one path. That's how that it was toxic actually. The struggle implied that I work so hard, so much harder than whatever I thought, and that implied that I was not focusing on other interests of mine. I was slightly focused, but I was mainly my focus was not wide. I was completely focused on this, and to the point where I might have even burned out to some extent. So yeah, it was bad. So now I want to decide that I want to be some all-round guy. Maybe not master of everything, but I want to be a little all-round. I don't want to channel myself into one direction only. I want to explore things, right? In the next section, which I'll talk in a new video, because that deserves a new video, I'll talk about how things are now, how things have been on that decision, what I'm going to do now, right? I'll talk about that, how my final year is going to be, how I'm going to treat it, how do I want to live after my final year, what I can do from now to get where I want to go, to get where I want to be, and all that. Yeah. So yes, this is pathless academic. This is a rough video, I know that, but I couldn't write it in a formal way, so I just wanted to post it here, right? The pathless path, birth of pathless academic. And then yes, fourth section है जिसमें I'll talk about what I'm going to do now. What's my plan? I need to also talk about the same aspect with my parents also. But I'm excited. I'm excited particularly now because of various things that I want to explore, from eco-India to sustainability to many other things. Yeah. Thoughts are not settled on this, okay? That's why it's harder for me to write about this. I just want to talk about it, and it's a good place to post this. So yeah, that's it. See you in the next video.